Welcome back, everybody, to more BPL Season 8 regular season coverage. My name is Bowsy, and I'm joined here by Biscuit on the cast as we're ready to continue day number 2 here of the final week of the regular season, with Hidden King facing off against Flying Blåhajar here, Biscuit, for an attempt to try and make a good run in the bracket.
Yeah, and just like you're saying, it's gonna be the last week of like our group stage, of our before playoff stage, whatever you want to call it. These teams are fighting for points, they're fighting for placements, and trying to get either a bye or possibly, for example, a better matchup within the playoff bracket that is gonna be happening later. I think we can, we may be able to show it. We may not be able. We're a little bit late, so players are getting ready to play. But Bowsy here, you can see Hidden King already kind of guaranteeing a bye, if I'm not mistaken. Won't be needing two of their play-ins matches, but it doesn't mean that this match is inconsequential. They're still flying Blåhajar, sorry, I can't pronounce it, still trying to see what matchup they get later for this playoffs bracket.
Yeah, we take a look at the B-League standings here, and you can see Flying Blåhajar right there in 3rd place right now. They are pretty much in a flux position. Right now, they can be anywhere from 2nd place to 5th place in their group. The good news is they are guaranteed a playoff spot, considering the top 5 teams move into the playoffs. But they may be in the play-in, which means they have to play into the playoffs as well. So it's something to keep in mind if you're a fan of the Flying Blåhajar here in this matchup. But it's going to be interesting to see how they face off against Hidden King, who are currently on an undefeated streak all season. And we take a look at their star-studded roster that has been able to accomplish such a feat. They have 3 DPS with Yukino, Perseus, and Lucky on that DPS line. Friday, the main tank, ignore the fact that they are on Bastion and Lucky is on Roadhog. You might want to swap their roles there. And then a support line of Moon, who is the captain of the team, Memory, and Ricochet. This team right now is looking to accomplish the golden stage. They have not lost a map all season. The last time they lost a map was actually to the Flying Blåhajar in the kickoff tournament. So they're looking to try and make an undefeated run here in the regular season to try and set themselves up for a great playoff run.
Yeah, this is a team that gave them trouble, just like you were saying. Flying Blåhajar, just like we were saying. We have a Rainy Mood, Nameless, Bubba Wyatt in particular stand out to me as players that I've seen for a while in the league in multiple roles. Again, a lot of these people can also be like A-League players that drop down to B to try out a new role. C-Sharp, RMM, Fairy, and Coolant all on support. Very interesting composition drafting right there. And just like you were saying, a couple of these may seem wrong, but BPL tends to just ask them what's their favorite character. So it does not mean that that's the role they're on or the character that they're going to be playing. Regardless, that's what we have today. And just like you were saying, this is one of the only teams, if almost not the only one, that was able to give them some trouble in the run during this group stage. So hopefully they can repeat the success that they had earlier in the season and finally give Hidden King their first taste of defeat. But Bowsy, I think the bans are also just coming in. The rosters have also been finalized, so we should be going into map decently soon. Pachimari Gibraltar will be our first one, going into Antarctic Peninsula, then Kings Row, and should we need it, Esperanza will be our 4th map of the day.
Yeah, definitely. So interesting map pool, a very big mixture of dive and brawl there, especially with Antarctic Peninsula and Kings Row on the map pool. So anything could happen here, but you talked about those bans. Bans have already been selected here, so let's take a look at what these two teams have decided to ban here for map number 1, once our amazing producer gets that all set up here. Again, this is going to be for the first map, Watchpoint Gibraltar. Both of these teams looking to trying to choose what they think will be best for them or what they think will be good in their situation. Hidden King will get the first ban because they are the team on the left side at the start, so that means they do get first ban of priority here. And the bans are right there for you. Hidden King decided to ban the Brigitte, while Flying Blåhajar have decided to ban the Echo in response.
Yeah, Brady, you were saying, a lot of these players seem to call her their favorite support, and I don't mind it at all. A little bit surprised. Well, actually not surprised, because it's just in Watchpoint Gibraltar, right? Particularly, we've seen Brigitte in any dive comp able to keep their Ana alive, able to keep whatever their other support is consistently up, booping the Winston, booping anyone trying to jump in, so always a strong pick. The Echo as well, I think this team, Flying Blåhajar, tends to tends to be a little bit more into like Pharah comps, and of course Echo, always a famous Pharah counter that you cannot really deal with consistently. So some specific bans, some other more generic ones in Brigitte, for example, but I like what we're seeing. I think we're just in for another dive map, and it's gonna be a dive comp. Hidden King versus Flying Blåhajar. A reminder: Hidden King undefeated in so far. So let's see if they're able to keep their golden streak, or if they lose for the first time in the season.
We'll see if it's going to be the case here as we're about to head into map number 1 here. Watch Point Gibraltar again. Going to be that first map, but it's going to be interesting. We talked about, again, yesterday. Of course, yesterday in the A-League, we had an undefeated team in the entirety of the regular season lose their first match. That was the Mango Nectar game yesterday that took place. So there always is the possibility. Mango Nectar versus Blue Rose went in the favor of Mango Nectar, giving Blue Rose their only 2 map losses all season, ruining that golden stage. So there is the potential that Hidden King might lose that golden season here for the regular season. It happened on the other side of the B League. We'll see if it happens here in their group as we are about to start on our first map. Again, Watch Point Gibraltar being the map pick. We'll see what these two teams decide to roll out on here and which team is going to get the upper hand on our first map.
Hopefully we see some honest dive as we expect that in the lower leagues they tend to sometimes kind of favor just playing their brawl, forcing payload and seeing what happens off it. But consistently we've been seeing a lot of Winston, a lot of Diva, and that is just the tradition going in. Thank you, production. You can see them right there on the top left. Again, casters. We see them at the front, but there's lots of people making this happen in the back. And thank you for the beautiful scenery that they're painting for us here. And but honestly, to me, it seems like we're in for another dive map. More curiously, Flying Blåhajar, I don't know if they're on attack on defenses yet. Sorry, they're on attack, but kind of hovering the cat, hovering the bastion could be real, could be something that we favor memory. Well, something must have happened there. Seems like Moon is coming back to give them a TP. Regardless, very standard comps. I'm just a little bit confused by the cat on the side of Hidden King. Nothing really to lift up into the air and get value out of. Maybe lucky, maybe just trying to get them out of bad situations. Flying Blåhajar going for the classic Bastion cat that we've been seeing for a couple of months now. Regardless, Hidden King, let's see if they can surprise him with this comp.
It is worth noting as well on the side of Flying Blåhajar, they do not have Bubble White in right now. Creamer is actually ringing, so not being with your tank is going to be difficult here if you are the Flying Blåhajar, but they're trying to make it work here as they start making that cart advance. Right now you see however though, Yukino move again, and here comes the caption. Rainy Moon piling in with that turret form with Moon, or with RMM throwing them around the map. But so far, nothing resulted of it, just forcing back the members of the Hidden King into that back corridor.
Oh my God.
Creamer gets the first kill onto Percy there, getting rid of the Tracer early, and now going right for both supports. Moon and Memory in that small area. Rainy Moon is going to get picked out in response, however, so it's not such a clean fight, especially with Nameless falling as well. Looks like Flying Blåhajar might have to retreat here, as they've already lost 2 members and are looking for the retreat now.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the world though. You were able to get payload onto half of the map, and if we notice anything, is that Rainy Moon just being in the air, even without turret form, is consistently putting chip damage into Yukino, right? Forcing them out, forcing them to spend a little bit of their matrix, and the resources slowly bleeding out for the side of Hidden King. Going back in though, a little bit of a commit, but I think Flying Blåhajar is stable here.
Here comes Rainy Mood yet again with that turret form in the middle. AC 130ing all the way across the map. Yukino tries to pull back up to the high ground, but ends up missing it a little bit, but it's still alive and well. We'll be going now for Creamer, who's in the back line, trying to stay alive here on this Winston. Beautiful Susan from C# to keep them alive, but so far, it's just been a back and forth of the damage. No kills resulting from either team. Nameless starting to deal with the Cat of Moon as they try to keep themselves alive. Now going into Tracer 1v1 with Percy. Forced to use that recall a little bit too early. You probably want to hold on to that if you're Nameless, and now they have to back out of the fight with such low health.
Oh my God, flying back in with Bastion. The Bola!
Oh, what a Bola shot! Right onto Rainy Moon.
Good.
Slows down the Bastion, even in that Cat tether. Lucky's going to be sacrificing their life for it, but the damage has basically been done. Creamer just trying to stay alive right now, looking for late picks, but it's going to be picked off late by Percy.
Just like we were saying, that's a beautiful Bola, not only because of the way that it got hit, but like the person that it is hitting, right? Flying Blåhajar, their entire strategy is basing it around, hey, can we get the Bastion to the damage? And look at that, they immediately swapped into the Mizuki, who is able to counter the Diva pretty well. You cannot eat the chain from Mizuki. And Rainy moves back at the Soldier, something a little bit more traditional, since the Bastion Cat is just not getting the picks that they want, Bowsy. A couple of ults out from Hidden King, though.
Here comes Percy over in the back line. Does not hit the pulse bomb onto RMM. That is not what you want to see if you're the hitting king, but still have the opportunity here. Creemer's going to be forced to pop the Primal Raise considering how low they are. Now trying to swat away Moon on this Jetpack Cat as they're trying to swat away the rest of hitting king who are stuck in a corner. They find the kill onto Moon. The bomb comes out here from Yukino as well to get that remech off. Flying Blåhajar now in the advantage, only one support left with Memory being alive. They're going to be able to heal up their team and also use that Kitsune Rush in the middle. And Creamer dies right as C-Sharp uses their own Kitsune Rush, but now Yukino's out of the mech in the point! The cart sails into the point courtesy of Nameless. Memories kunais don't hit the Tracer fast enough. The first point is going to be going here to Flying Blåhajar as Hitting King just getting these kills for the last second.
And we can already see it in chat. I think Flying Blåhajar should have lost that fight. They were not in position to win it after Creamer just got absolutely pelted. Guns down on point. Lucky landing a couple of shots here, Valsi. But I feel like at the end of the day, you still won your fight, and you cannot be here if you're hitting king. Overextending and dying is going to give you a super bad position going to second. A little bit of a mirror matchup going here. Nameless landing a couple of bolts. Lucky trying to get out. And the same goes for the rest of hitting king, who just have to leave right now.
Lucky, one of the reigning champions of the B League, known for their Freya play, trying to make it work here against their opponent. Rainy Moo, meanwhile, gets the kill onto Percy, and the bullet shot lands onto Creamer, but doesn't finish out the kill here. Flying Blåhajar right now still in the advantage as Rainy Moo makes their way up the staircase, and Nameless trying to find anything here, trying to go for any sort of kill here. Looking for that kill onto Lucky on that Freya, but so far has not been able to find anything yet. But now it's getting focused out here by Yukino as Nameless just trying to find their way forward, just get out of the sights, and looks like right now Hitting King are starting to stabilize it with that kill on the Nameless is looking any better. The pulse bomb from Percy as well, eliminating Creamer inside of that area is not ideal.
Hitting King investing 2 ults into a fight that I think they had already won. Blåhajar, if anything, they're building up their ults and slowly getting there, but you're bleeding time, Bouncy. And honestly, at 2 minutes, there's nothing that you can do other than maybe get your DPS ults back for one big fight, so you have to use them very, very smartly here. Creamer getting pelted, and this is the issue with the D.Va matchup. You die so easily if you're Winston, though. The entirety of Flying Blåhajar is here to try and keep them in check. Does Yukino die?
No, Yukino's just barely going to be able to get out, but the ball shot lands on the Moon, following them in tandem. What a shot there from Nameless to eliminate once again the big support on the side of Hitting King, but it's still not over yet. Memory once again popping the Kitsune Rush, and Lucky finds the kill onto their adversary. Rainy Moon also out of the fight, and Yukino is chasing down C-Sharp. Going to be able to get the kill on that Kiriko as the rest of Flying Blåhajar fall yet again by the wayside. And with only about a minute left here for Flying Blåhajar, they have to try and find an answer fast.
Yeah, and you also just invested your Bola, which is not the most expensive ultimate in the world. Nameless can absolutely get it back, but you are only relying really on having a good Kitsune. What a shot here from Nameless, bleeding down their HP a little bit, but you have to fight together. 53 seconds, Elsie. This is your last real fight before you have to like desperately look for a touch, looking for the top of spaceship, but taking too much damage in return for Flying Blåhajar.
Yeah, it's just hard to poke through this area if you are Nameless here. Yukino meanwhile gonna be going to the back line. RMM caught out in a weird angle, gonna be pincered out by Percy and by Yukino. Beautiful hand up there from Hitting King, just being able to finish out that support. But now Flying Blåhajar looking for anything. Rainy Moo's pulse bomb is a whiff. Now Percy chasing down Nameless yet again. The Freya now out of the picture. Now trying to win the Tracer 1v1 against Rainy Moon. Moon's going to be able to help for both of those kills. And now it's going to be the Kai Sanctuary used here by RMM, but it's just to keep everyone alive even before they even get to the cart. Someone has to touch this card. There's only 10 seconds left on the clock, and Hitting King are just keeping the doors engaged.
Oh, what a
beautiful pulse bomb from Percy. Gets rid of RMM. The catnapping comes in from Moon as well to try and stop anyone from Flying Blåhajar to touch that point. C-Sharp now dead to the boosters. Now there's no support left for the side of Flying Blåhajar. Rainy Moon, however, gets the trade on a Memory, but it looks like it's going to be all for naught. It's only Creamer on the objective. No bubble to speak of. Nothing to keep them alive from the threat of Lucky on that Freya. RMM comes in for that last-minute touch, but it's not going to be enough. The cart is going to have to settle for 34 meters taken here for Flying Blåhajar.
If I have to say anything, Bowsley, I feel like Flying Blåhajar a little bit slow to the draw. In a lot of these fights, it feels like their supports are super disconnected. And honestly, if you're playing dive, Bowsley, we already know how the story goes. We're gonna trade backlines. If you're the support player, you're dying. It's more of a question of when are you dying? Are you dying later? Are you able to get some resources out from them? Are you able to get in some ults? Do you even not die at some point, right? Which is important to have like the break ban, right? Just to kind of sustain a little bit longer throughout these dives. But by the time that the fight is happening, by the time the jumps are being spent, by the time that we're boosting into the backline, Flying Blåhajar is still not there. Like, it's only Creamer who's able to jump in, and the rest of the DPS, they don't have the sidelines ready, they can't jump in. Like, nothing you can do other than Hidden King already being in your backline, killing everyone, and then by the time that you're already kind of fighting, trying to get that trade going, it's too late. Yukino already killed everyone and is flying back at you to shoot you down and make sure that you cannot trade them out. Not a bad effort from Flying Blåhajar, but again, I feel like in these lives you have to be a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressive, have more initiative, and I don't mind Yukino starting on Hog. We've seen the cheese pick at the beginning. I don't think they're gonna stay this, but Bowsy, looking a little bit tough for Flying Blåhajar. I don't think it looks really coordinated today.
I mean, you say that the Hog is not going to happen here, yet I see that the tether is onto the Hog here. Here comes the flying pig. When pigs fly, this is what happens. And Yukino can just go right into the backline here and already forces Blåhajar to immediately try to react to it. And that's sort of the pressure that you can apply with Jetpack Cat. So somehow, all of these heroes who are usually not mobile at all can just be flying across the map, and Hidden King seem to have that to a T. Moon just showing their excellence here on the Jetpack Cat and putting Flying Blåhajar on moment's notice.
Yeah, and just like we were saying, able to like enable some degenerate strategies. Nothing else that we can say. Someone once famously said that Hog would never be good even if he could fly, and I'm seeing something different on stream. Yukino, just so much presence onto this payload, but now comes the issue. Going into an open space, you're gonna get shot, and you can't really sustain through any of this. It looks like they're staying the cat bouncy, and this might be a little bit of a mistake. Regardless, Creamer taking lots of damage here.
Yeah, Yukino just being able to burn down that mech here from Creamer. What Yukino really needs to look for is a hook onto an important target, because if they're able to hit that hook, they might be able to turn the tide here for Hidden King. But right now, already low on their breather, forced to try and find their way with Moon here on the grapple. But it's going to be able to hit that hook onto Nameless. Beautiful hit there from Yukino. Now, Flying Blåhajar down one of the DPS, and you see the health pools. They're all super low, all in that small room. RMM gets Pulse Bomb, Rainy Mood gets killed by Memory, and it's all done and dusted for Creamer here. Hidden King making the Hog work with the Cat, being able to get this first point, and now 5 minutes to only go 34 meters here on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, very interesting. Nameless just sitting here trying to fish for something, but just like we were saying, the fact that you can enable a lot of these really unorthodox comps means that you're catching Flying Blåhajar super like out of their depth, right? Yukino trying to contest this upper space, but Rainy Mood opening up with a beautiful pick.
Very good pick there. C-Sharp is going to engage on that with a Kitsune Rush as well. As Lucky trying to stay alive in the midst of it. Going to be picked out here by Nameless. The cart just barely stops 5 meters short of that golden box of victory here. So Hidden King forced to reset. Flying Blåhajar going to be able to hold here for a little bit.
Looks like they're staying on the Wu Yang, and oh my god!
Oh, Percy!
Almost getting the C9. I don't mind it from Percy, but you need to get this big if you're Flying Blåhajar. Every single thing they give you is big. Eating the Bola, Yukino just taking so much damage, Mousy.
The Pulse Bomb doesn't do anything though, and now Yukino has the whole Hog. Going to be putting Creamer into a corner here, but dies to the Diva Bomb before they're able to finish off the Diva. They should have just not gone for the Breather. That was as simple as that. If you don't go for the Breather, you win that, but now it's still pretty close. Both DPS from Hidden King have found two. Rainy Mood and RMM are dead. Nameless is going to be able to finish out Percy, but Lucky is still shooting from afar. Those Freya buffs from this past patch are making the difference here for the side of Hidden King. Moon's now back in the fight. So is the ball now of Yukino trying to roll in. Here comes the Catnapper from Moon. It is a whiff. Doesn't find anything, but still, there's so much pressure here. And who do you focus on if you're Flying Blåhajar? There's pressure coming out from every single angle. Rainy Mood unleashes the Overclock, but now Nameless is out of the picture. Overclock just not going to be able to do anything. It's just forcing Hidden King to play away from the point. Pulse Bomb, beautiful whiff there from Percy. Unable to get any sort of hit, but now it's trying to push this card as Flying Blåhajar are still looking to try and stall this out and find anything.
The fight is going on for so long, and Yukino being back on ball, maybe you're surviving forever. The Bola goes wide.
Oh, Lucky!
Or never mind, it gets Rainy Mood. 3 people for Lucky, 4.
There's your rating champion, Lucky, with the Freya play yet again. A beautiful 3K to finish out the point. Hidden King go up to match point in the series, continuing this golden season that they are currently chasing.
Oh my god, that was such a long fight. And honestly, a big highlight from me is the Hog ult happening. It was really funny. Other than that, I really like that Hidden King was super committed to that fight. Most teams will just kind of back off, Bowsy, after seeing that they weren't able to like win during the first engage. But now they just come back instantly on ball. They believe in the fight after you have like that one pick and keep the momentum rolling. It's really risky because then you're bleeding out a lot of your own timer, and then you have to probably switch off of ball and not have the ult charge that you have expected. Regardless, I love like that they committed and they are rewarded for a pretty risky play. Hidden King up 1-0 right now. We're moving into control, and Rousey, I'm starting to see why they're undefeated. That was really dominant performance from everyone on Hidden King.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're seeing that sort of performance coming out here from Hidden King, being able to make that work. So it's going to be interesting to see if Flying Blåhajar have any answers for it. Again, it is unfortunate they are missing their tank, but the good news is, if you are fans of Brawl, if Flying Blåhajar are fans of Brawl, they have two good maps that are coming up in their favor. Antarctic Peninsula being the first of them all, which Brawl is definitely an option here on this map here, Biscuit. So we could very well see the Brawl come out here from Flying Blåhajar to try and turn this series around. It is worth noting the last time these two teams played was again in that kickoff tournament, and it was a reverse sweep from Flying Blåhajar, so they might just be better in the later game.
Yeah, just like what we're saying, right? First, if we're talking about like, for example, right now we're still in this group stage. It's still first to two, right? So anything that you're able to do that surprises them, it's gonna take a longer time for Hidden King to adapt and hopefully bring back that victory position that they're in right now. But again, we're going into control, and hopefully there can be some adaptations. If I've noticed anything, is that honestly, it just seems like Hidden King is going really fast and at the beginning of the fight. That is very important. Flying Blåhajar is almost always reacting as opposed to being the ones to like show their aggression and give them like something to worry about. Consistently, Hidden King is like, hey, my D.Va's already on top of you. Hey, my flying hog, it's already on top of you. So if you're Flying Blåhajar, I think you need to be a little bit more aggressive. Go first a lot more, so that you can fight your own fight in your own terms, right? And moving into Antarctic Peninsula, Balsi, I feel like we're gonna have a very big shift in momentum. No more dive. I'm expecting to see some Samsaria. I'm expecting to see some Ramatra, something along those lines. Very long fights, a lot of sustain, and hopefully Flying Blåhajar is better at this matchup compared to the dive matchup.
Yeah, definitely. And if you are Flying Blåhajar as well, you're looking to try and get this reverse sweep because, again, the playoffs do come into factor right now. You don't want to be that sitting man on the wrong side of the group here. We're going to take a look at our bans here in a second. As a reminder, you cannot ban the same hero twice in the same matchup. So Hidden King have sacrificed their Brigida ban, Flying Blåhajar sacrificed their Echo ban, and Flying Blåhajar have said, we've had enough. No more D.Va on the field. D.Va now banned from the side of Flying Blåhajar. They don't want to play that D.Va for the rest of the series.
Yeah, and something we're talking about here, Balsi, is that, hey, you know, yeah, for the rest of the series, for the rest of the map, and that is one important thing. D.Va's not the best tank in this point, right? This has almost always been a rush point, a brawl point, but that doesn't mean that the ban is wasted, right? Because if there was one thing giving you trouble in the first game, and we're playing first to two, you of course want to, you know, make sure that it doesn't happen again. Like, even if it's not the most optimal ban, it's better to be like, hey, I'm gonna ban the D.Va. Also, there's not gonna be any possible dive maps other than you have to like it's gonna be escort as a tiebreaker, and it's gonna be hybrid in King's Row, so it's not gonna happen. The May ban, I like it a lot. May has been really strong after a couple of the changes going into the season, and a wall will always be an issue. Like, if there's a wall behind your tank, it's like, yes, you can break it, yes, you can do something about it, but the fact that there's something extra that you have to worry about, like this very important cooldown, and just being able to not worry about it for the rest of the map, very good ban. But other than that, yes. So for some people, maybe doubting the D.Va ban, it's first two. So honestly, just ban whatever you thought was a big issue last map and not worry about it on this one. So you can put yourself on a match point policy.
Definitely will be interesting to see what Hidden King can pull off here with this May ban. That tells me that they don't really want to have to worry about that sort of brawl style that Flying Blåhajar might be bringing to the table. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here, as we do have some swaps coming in here for map number 2. The big one I see, however, is on the side of Flying Blåhajar. We have RMM coming out, Coolant coming in for the support line. Meanwhile, on the side of Hidden King, several hero changes coming in, which we'll get into when we get into the map here. Again, Antarctic Peninsula, match point for the Hidden King. They are trying to get the golden season. If they win this map, they accomplish the golden regular season, going undefeated 4-0-8-0.
Yeah, and it's not like Flying Blåhajar is fighting for like nothing either, right? We're fighting for second spot at the top of your bracket, and that is going to be very important. It means that you have a decent matchup going into your plans. And yes, you might be a dominant team, but even risking a possible loss, like you get unlucky, someone is not feeling well on your team and they can't play, you cannot be risking that, right? So hopefully you can get as best of a matchup as you can. And unlucky that you don't have your main tank. And you have Creamer ringing. Not to say that they're a downgrade by any means, but still you're used to playing with someone, and not having that, it can be a little bit of a can get you off your tempo by a little bit. Just like you were saying, Coolin's coming in. I know RMM as a main support player usually playing the Brig, so it might be better to have them swapped out on a map that is not so dive oriented. Ramatra versus Sigma. What we're caring a lot about here is that Flying Blåhajar wants to play it slow, drain the resources by cloaking, and Hitting King. We just want to go fast.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be Hitting King trying to make their way forward already here with that Nemesis form coming out from Yukino, but a little bit too far. Ends up getting binded chain there by Coolant, and C-Sharp able to finish out the kill. And now for Flying Blåhajar, able to stabilize, doing a little bit of pressure here, and now pushing forward, just trying to find as much damage as possible as they make their way in. So far, the point's still not capped yet. Percy currently stalling it out here on the Tracer as Yukino tries to run back in. The point eventually going to go the way of Flying Blåhajar.
Yeah, Lucky taking a little bit of damage here, and just like we were saying, Flying Blåhajar able to shoot you from so far away, drain your resources, drain your HP, and do so much poke. But the second that this happens, like you can in front of your tank, you need to be super aware and keep Creamer alive as much as you can.
Yeah, you already forced out that kinetic grasp here if you are Yukino, now using the Nemesis form yet again, but once again taking a lot of pressure here, down to half health, but able to stay alive until Ricochet is the first to fall. Rainy Mood finding that perfect pick to start off here. Flying Blåhajar starting to find their groove as they once again land an accretion onto Yukino here. That Ramatra just trying to stay alive right now. Meanwhile, that Cassidy of Lucky on the high ground, that could be the difference maker here, but now they're getting pressured out here by Rainy Mood. But they actually win the duel. Ricochet comes back from the dead and ends up killing out Rainy Mood. Lucky, however, dies. Meanwhile, all of this, the Kakai Sanctuary used on the low ground. Pulse Bomb comes out, doesn't find anything. It is a back and forth fair. Ultra flying left and right, but all of them are red. Flying Blåhajar have used 3 ultimates so far in this fight compared to Hitting King 2.
Yeah, and honestly, not getting a lot out of it. Yukino's gonna die here. Too much damage incoming. You don't have your form. And honestly, Rainy Mood has just putting in so much damage with the Reaper at these close ranges. Bowsy, the worst kind of fight that you can have is a long fight, and at the same time, you weren't able to count the point. It's still ticking, and you're only gonna have one comfortable touch here, moving into the 70%. But very important, just like we were talking about, no real ult for Flying Blåhajar other than their Death Blossom, and it's not the best ult in the game. Let me just tell you that. Annihilation is gonna be ready to pop here, Bowsy.
Yukino definitely has the opportunity to pop this Annihilation as they make their way forward here. Definitely have that speed with well from Ricochet to make this work. As you also have Percy pushing in here now with the Genji off the Tracer. But it's just going to be Hitting King forcing Flying Blåhajar back. Now trying to contest the point yet again. Deadeye's going to come out here from Lucky all the way in the back line. She's looking for that immediate pick. She's going to throw it right into the kinetic grasp from Creamer. Just couldn't see that because of the Ramatra right in front of him. But now here comes the Annihilation. Yukino pushing forward, going right on the Rainy Mood. But Rainy Mood has the support to keep themselves alive. And Yukino does not. 49 health. The beat has to be eventually from Ricochet to keep them alive. And Flying Blåhajar, they see that as a win. 3 ultimates used from the Hitting King, and they decide to go for the full course retreat.
And you still haven't lost. There's still a Reaper flying above you, threatening you with a Blossom, but you can't really do anything about it. Bowsy, they invested their ults early, but they're gonna have them back during this fight if you're Flying Blåhajar. Creamer taking a couple of pot shots here, and now when do we go back? We're dropping into point. This is the time, Bowsy.
Kakai Sanctuary is the starter. Here comes the play from Percy, the 5th ultimate from Hitting King, technically in this fight. And Rainy Mood's Death Blossom finds nothing except a face full of Blade. Now here comes the Chromatic Flux from Creamer, trying to finish it out. They're going to be able to land it onto Yukino and finish the kill on the Ramatra. The rest of the kills are there. Nameless popping up in the kill feed to finish it off. Creamer's accretion finishing out Lucky as well. And with an absolute mess of ultimates across the entirety of the point, Flying Blåhajar are going to go to map point here to try and tie up the series.
What can I say about the way that they played that? They invested 3 ultimates, obviously, just like you were saying. A lot more committed than Hitting King during that fight. But it doesn't matter because just like, the point is still in your hand the entire time that it's ticking, right? So it's worth more for you than it honestly, like Hitting King has a lot more to risk by not capping than you have by losing. So it's just very good to keep that momentum going in your favor. And most importantly, their comp, Bowsy, is so good at just absorbing damage and not caring, right? Sigma has so many ways to stay alive. Sigma has so many ways to just kind of take a couple of shots at you and have their ult back. And I love the way that they drop and Coolant immediately reacts, hey, we're dropping, I'm gonna put the Sanctuary on top of us, and you have to come at me when Rainy Mood is on Reaper and is gonna put a lot of damage into you. Match point for Flying Blåhajar. Big swap coming in from Hidden King though, for preferring the dive, which into the Sigma matchup, I don't hate it, but I feel like you're gonna take a lot of damage before you can even leap in, Bounce.
It is worth noting on that first round that C-Sharp and Coolant did not die all map, so Flying Blåhajar are currently relying on their support, so Yukino is going to try to put a damper on that with this dive composition, with the Hazard now trying to force their way into the enemy team. Right now, hasn't been able to find anything. Flying Blåhajar has just been staying far enough away to make it so they're not in the range of that violent leap. But now a beautiful wall setup coming out here from Yukino.
Oh my God.
But a binding chain and an accretion all at once, and just too much damage coming into the Hazard to keep them alive. Now Flying Blåhajar just trying to finish it out, but once again, that annoying Tracer Percy in the backline just going to stall them out from capping the point.
And I'm in no position to call myself a better player, but I think a swap is in order. Hazard, you're gonna get rocked, you're gonna get chained, and if that doesn't happen, Rainy Moon is just there to make sure that you regret even jumping in. 10% and ticking, and honestly, losing a fight like that, Balsi, means that Flying Blåhajar is so ahead of you ult-wise, other than Lucky, but that is to be expected with the Freya pick, right? On their Matcha, looking to go fast, and you cannot fight this coast if you're Lucky at all.
Lucky's just having a lot of trouble here with this Freya, but still, Percy now on the Reaper. Trying to go over to a pick that would provide a lot more damage here, but Yukino once again dropping extremely low. Tries to go for the Vortex, but ends up dying for their efforts here. Once again, it's going to be a full reset here. Nameless is going to get the return kill onto Lucky, but when you have a Gravitic Flux like this, both DPS caught out, sent to the floor. Percy dead in an instant, but the bullet shot comes out here from Lucky, trying to equalize, but barely cool and stays alive, and Creamer finishes off the Freya in the aftermath.
We were talking about Creamer being a ringer, but Balsi, the way that they're playing, you wouldn't even know that Creamer is not part of their main team. They're playing together so perfectly. And Hidden King, you only really have a Kitsune at 60% on Taken. We've talked about this before, but at this point, you only have one really good fight, one organized fight where everything can go your way. So if you're Hidden King, I feel like you want to farm your Annihilation, or you can check out Sanctuary before you go in. That's easier said than done though. C-Sharp is going to be able to rush into you, and you won't really have any answer other than try to do the same back at them.
Vortex comes out here from Yukino. Now the Kitsune Rush and the Nemesis forms combined into one.
Big
Lucky finds the first crucial kill onto Cool, and now that Kai Sanctuary out of the table here for Flying Blåhajar, but Lucky is traded. Nameless able to get that kill, but they die for their efforts. It is still a back and forth affair with Rainy Mood being the only DPS left on the field. Yukino once again going for the Nemesis form, has this Annihilation on hand if they wish to use it, but a beautiful increase from Creamer keeps them away for the moment. Now the Kai Sanctuary is back, Cool and back in the fight, trying to win this out here for Flying Blåhajar, as now it's overtime here for the side of Flying Blåhajar. 99-0, Rainy Mood out of the fight though. Hidden King need to try and finish off this kill fast before Rainy Mood runs back. We've seen that the Flying Blåhajar can recover from these, but it's not going to be enough. Creamer too much damage pumped into the Sigma, as it's going to be Flying Blåhajar losing the point here. Hidden King start counting up the percentage, but at a very tight notice.
Yeah, looking for a couple of staggers, but just like you were saying, a tight notice. You're at 10%, they are 99. You cannot afford to lose anything here, especially in this angle. Nameless, a couple of good shots. It's going to be the Wraith form. Oh, never mind. Percy decides to take damage, giving their support ult a little bit of a blue strike there, taking some damage themselves, though. 30% dropping. Flux is ready, Balsi. You don't have anything if you're Hidden King, other than you kick Sanctuary, and no more form either. This is the time to go.
Here comes the Flux. Both supports caught out by that. Oh my God! Is gonna die before they use the Kakai Sanctuary. Percy's gonna get a trade on a Nameless, but they die for their efforts as well. So it's only Memory right now on the side of Hidden King, keeping the team alive. If Ricochet's able to get back, it's an opportunity. But here comes the Kitsune from Memory, but doesn't find anything. It's at the face full of Death Blossom from Rainy Mood. Overtime, Wick once again burns, and Flying Blåhajar in a great position right now to deny the golden season for Hidden King. There's Percy back on the point, trying to stall it out here, but there's a Kakai Sanctuary on the field, unable to get it in the last moment, and Flying Blåhajar plays spoiler to the golden season. They take Hidden King's first map this entire regular season, and we're going to a map number 3.
I don't think I'm the first. I don't think I'm the first person to think this. Looking at the map, but honestly, after Gibraltar, Balsi, I expected a very fast game from Hidden King. But just look at the way Blåhajar were able to play here. It's like what we're saying. It's first to 2. You have to adapt quickly, and honestly, the way that they were moving was so much different, Balsi, on the brawl matchup. Wow, I really can't explain Like, if there was like a checklist of things to do before going in, Creamer had all of them in a perfect like little row going into that fight. No Susu. They blew their form for honestly no reason, right? Hidden King cannot move into you. And then it's like, hey, well, this flux is free. Nothing can stop me. They can chain me, but at the end of the day, that won't make the damage go away. And then the flux lands perfectly on the two people that it needs to land on. Not one person more, not one person less. Bousy, your supports are dead. The fight is over. There's nothing you can do. What an engage from Flying Blåhajar. And honestly, the fight before that, yes, they lose, but you can notice that they were just stalling on points, seeing how many resources they could drain out of Hidden King before this last fight, and now we're on King's Row. Can they do it, Bousy? We need to see this happen now.
This definitely is a potential King's Row. Again, another brawl-heavy map. If you are the side of Hidden King, you have to be going into this with some worry. Yukino and that Ramatra did not seem to do well. Yes, they were able to do the damage, but they went negative on tank on that map. So It's going to be difficult here if you are the side of Hidden King, but they still have an opportunity to do this. But the big thing is that when it came to that map, the support line for Flying Blåhajar stepped up there, Biscuit. 1 death combined through the entire support line of Flying Blåhajar. Coolant died once, C# went deathless, so they had an error K kill death ratio. So it's possible we could see this reverse sweep once again from Flying Blåhajar, but they have to make it count here on on King's Row. But the question is, what are the bans going to be? Hidden King, obviously, a lot of pressure on their shoulders. They have to decide the right ban here, because they do get that first ban, and we'll have to see what they decide to ban and what they're going to try to make work here. But it looks like they have selected their ban. The ban has been selected here for Hidden King, and I don't know if we're able to bring up the ban screen to show exactly what they decided to ban here. There we go. They banned Mizuki. So Mizuki off the table. No more Mizuki from Coolant, which that Mizuki would seem to be the difference maker at the end of the day, because Coolant seemed to be much better than Ricochet on that Mizuki.
Yes, Bousy, I cannot explain how many times Hidden King was getting chained and there was nothing your tank could do other than die, right? It's the pressure that Mizuki has been bringing out on you, and particularly in this season when he's able to move super quickly onto your sideline with your Tracer, with your Shion, who has been a very popular pick. I'm surprised we haven't seen her today, actually. Or your Sojourn, right? Opening up the side angle, having that passive healing, having a hat that heals you a lot, and then you have the chain. So many factors can go wrong, particularly when your team wanted to play D.Va a good amount, right? We saw that for the D.Va ban, or in a couple of other picks. Yukino, honestly, one of the things that messed him up a lot more, Valsi, was the hazard swap, right? Like on first map, you swap it, you don't have your ult, you get chained rock, and you realize, wow, this is a bad swap. Now, with Mizuki off the table, you can make that a little bit easier. But if anything, Baushi, I'm a little bit more surprised that they didn't ban the Sigma. That seemed to give them a lot of trouble, and Sigma, I don't think I need to say it, but he's not a bad pick in King's Row at all. But really good, able to keep himself up during a lot of these like long-range fights. I think, I mean, you're between a rock and a hard place with the Mizuki and the Sigma, very hard choice, but I feel like the Sigma may have been the biggest issue, Baushi.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the response is going to be from Flying Blåhajar on the DPS, on the ban here. I mean, they have several options. You could ban that Ramatra, but we already saw how Yukino's Ramatra did not seem to pose that much of a threat. They could decide to ban something like a DPS that seemed to be a thorn in their side. It is worth noting, for that DPS line, we talked about Lucky doing so good on that first map. They ended up going 5-5 even. But they decide to go for the Wrecking Ball ban. An interesting ban coming out here from Flying Blåhajar. Despite the fact that you could very well see the ball coming out here from Yukino, but we haven't seen it yet here, Biscuit. This is a very interesting ban considering King's Row is the map. Yeah,
it's a head scratcher for sure. Wow, I'm caught off guard. I think I'm more caught off guard than the teams themselves. We saw it at the end of Gibraltar, but I don't think that was a comp thing. It was more like, hey, we got one pick and we need to come back fast. So which tank does that better than Wrecking Ball? No one, right? So I feel like it was more of like a situational pick rather than the real pick that they were going for, Bausi. They're cooking something, and honestly, just like you were saying, no flame to Yukino at all, but the Ramatra was not putting the pressure onto Flying Blåhajar enough to sacrifice your ban for. So maybe we're like, hey, I'm comfortable in the Ram matchup. Even though Sigma technically loses to him, they seem to have it under control. So honestly, maybe just making it so that like the pick is not possible to catch you off guard. that's never a bad thing. King's Row is going to be your last map. Bousy, very interesting ban on the ball, I cannot lie. And it seems like we're going to have maybe I'm misreading a couple of these, but basically the same rosters other than Moon coming in for the side of Hidden King, replacing one of their players. I wouldn't be able to tell you right now, but
it's Ricochet they're replacing. So
yeah,
Moon back in for Ricochet. And that makes the most sense, because that tells me that Hidden King want to play this sort of brawl style, and already we see on the Lucio right now here on the defense here. That could change. We'll have to see what Hidden King decides to go for here. Looks like they want to try to go for this Sigma Lucio Kiri, which makes sense. This is the best brawl style you could think of here for Hidden King. And interestingly, again, we talked about the Mei ban on that last map, and now we start to see that we have the Mei in play here for the side of Hidden King. Percy showing that Mei. Could that be the piece that they were missing?
Yeah, and that, I mean, honestly, a wall on Sigma, I think it's not as bad as some other tanks because Sigma has so many ways to keep himself alive. Very tricky, especially because Hidden King were the ones that banned it, Bousy. So I'm very surprised. Ready Mood, looking for a shot, won't be able to find it. You might need to swap fast because every second counts when you're trying to be the one team that puts Hidden King down a game. Creamer, back in this arch, and we're gonna be here for a while, Bousy. This choke is pretty hard to break, particularly in the Sigma mirror. Mei hovering on Hotel and just looking for a singular pixel that Creamer oversteps to put that wall and hopefully kill them right then and there.
Here comes the speed ring, however, from Coolant. Going to be trying to deny that sort of wall pressure here from Percy as Flying Blowhard make their way around to the other side of the statue. Already the barriers exposed. Both kinetic grasps used from both Sigmas as well as Rainy Mood looks for that backline on the Reaper. But now you see all the pressure going into Yukino, just not enough to keep them alive. Too much pressure coming out to the Sigma. Now the tank of Hidden King is down. Creamer is making an impact here on the Ringer tank. And it's going to have to be a complete reset here from Hidden King. They're going to have to give up this first point.
A fast win. That's the story of King's Row. First point goes by so quickly. And Bousy, maybe I am doubting them a little bit too much, but I think the Lucio doesn't really benefit you too much in the Hidden King matchup. Like, you're looking to play a little bit more defensive, especially since you have Mei Freya. And Lucio, not the best support right now. I like the Juno a lot more. More consistent healing. You have one of the best ultimates in the game. And your Ring is still giving you speed, right? I feel like that is the difference maker. The Lucio, a little bit misguided of a pick, but either way, you have to make it through this arc, but 5 minutes, Bousy. That's a lot of time to burn if you're Hidden King.
Already a good start here from Hidden King. Moon able to get the kill onto Nameless to start off. So the Lucio showing its potential here as the first choke, as it's going to be Hidden King holding here for right now as Flying Blowhard wait for their Freya to run back in. But so far it's just a poking game between these two Sigmas. Creamer and Yukino trying to make an impact here. Creamer notably has the Flux, so could possibly use that here. Reach it out early. The Flux comes out. Percy picked off early, and the Kazuzu does keep Yukino alive, but only for a little bit as the damage is pretty much there. Yukino trapped inside of a corner. Lucky will get the return kill on to C Sharp, because as their first death since map number 1, but at the end of the day, it's going to be Lucky and Memory in the backline right now for Hidden King.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to survive. You can't really afford to stagger, but this might just lead into a stagger. Maybe you can find something here on the backline. And to me, Bousy, Yukino forgot the #1 rule of the Sigma Mirror. You cannot use your rock first, or you're gonna pay for it. Lucky taking lots of damage, but it seems like they're good. The Bola finding Lucky. What pick?
Beautiful goal shot there from Nameless, able to get it onto Lucky. Now Nameless trying to make their way around to try and find any sort of stagger pick. Might be able to get this pick on the Moon. Unable to land the shots, but still, ults flying left, right, and center. All 4 support ults pop in the span of 2 seconds. Hidden King need to try and make this work, but they lose Moon early. Coolant, however, is traded, and Memory's able to get the kill on the Rainy Moon, but for their own life. And now there's only 1 support left on the field, and Nameless shows up when it matters the most, when C Sharp's the only one left.
You were talking about it earlier, Lucky, or was it Nameless?
Lucky.
Lucky, the past winner on Freya, and they're showing them, hey, you may have won last season, but the future is now. Nameless looking super good right now, and the timer hasn't even changed, Bousy. We're still almost at 5 minutes. What a bola! That's gonna not. Oh no! Oh, yo, Nameless. The second I talk good about you, you fall down the hole.
Well, he got one. You know, that's the good news. The good news is it's also a trade. Rainy Moon does get the kill into Memory, but now that Rainy Moon's out, it's basically retreat here for the side of Flying Blowhard. A little bit unfortunate, but still, they got 4.5 minutes to play within the time bank to try and finish the match.
And I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but I really think we need to get off the Lucio. You have the beat for the Flux, but Creamer is farming it so quickly, you won't have it right now, Bowsy. It's gonna be nothing. There's gonna be nothing you can do about it, and your tank has way less sustain. Either way, we're under a matcha. The speed might be a little bit more worth, and Percy looking for a Blizzard here. Yeah, they're gonna find a lot of targets.
And he's going to be able to try and cancel out the Flux, but the Suzu is there from C Sharp, and Moon once again is dead to the Flux. Moon has constantly been the first pick in these fights, not what Hidden King need right now from their captain. Flying Blåhajar trying to find the advantage now, continuing to try and finish this out, but meanwhile, Hidden King are still stabilizing right now. Nameless looking for any kills right now, being the only DPS on the field for the team, and Percy makes the emergency swap over to the Xion now. First time we've seen it this match, to try to make it different. What a bola shot from Lucky, landing it right onto Nameless. Percy finishing out the kill with a headshot, and Hidden King, that was the key they needed to keep themselves in this fight.
Finally stabilizing. It feels like they finally have a foot in the door. 3 minutes and 20 seconds is nothing to scoff at, Bowsy. You have the Death Blossom ready from Rainy Moon, and Moon, you need to have the beat now. That's exactly what you picked the character for, and it seems like we won't be able to build it in time. Actually, we might just be able to running in.
Consider comes out here from C Sharp. It's a full force retreat until Rainy Moon throws it in with a Death Blossom. They get 2 kills for Rainy Moon, and the rest of the kills are there to clean it up. As it's going to be Flying Blåhajar making their way forward here. But Hidden King, notably, you talked about that beat, not even use that fight, so they're ready for whatever comes next.
We're holding it for Creamer, I'm pretty sure. Either that or Beam. Rainy Moon looking to just surprise someone here. TPing on this Xion, I don't think it's going to work. Maybe?
He's going to be able to try and do something here. Force out the pressure. Does get killed out by Lucky, but does get the kill onto Percy on the Xion. But look at this. Yukino running right into the backline, just throwing everyone on Flying Blåhajar for a loop as they clean up the field with the rest of their team.
It may have seemed like they won the fight earlier than that, Bowsy, but honestly, not a bad commit from Yukino. You need something to hold on to, and that might just be trying as hard as you can to full hold point. But that being said, Bowsy, 3 of your biggest ults, if not your biggest ults, down. The Bola is gone. Hidden King has nothing, and you have nothing for this. Like, oh my god!
What a beautiful voice! The 5-man Flux from Creamer! Make that 2 kills as well. 1 with the Accretion, 1 with the Flux. All the kills are there, but Lucky's answering back. 2 kills from Lucky, 1 of those being Coolant. If Flying Blåhajar aren't able to push this cart in time, there's a chance Hidden King might be able to respond. Percy's coming in, throws it onto the bike, able to get onto the point, and just barely able to stall it out, as now Yukino's back in the fight as well with the Nemesis form. Flying Blåhajar trying to stabilize, but they only have C Sharp to keep them alive, as they are already forced to use their fusions very early here. But Hidden King just barely able to stall that cart with 4 meters left before it capped the point.
Creamer's not even letting me breathe. That was such a beautiful 5-man, making this possibly the last fight. Rainy was looking to pick someone off guard. Lucky might be coming up, but they don't know that they're already on the other side. Yeah, you know that Rainy Moon is there. You cannot engage. A couple of volts coming in. Moon taking so much damage, and again, no beat, Bowsy. It takes so long to build this ult.
Here comes the Consider Rush from C Sharp. Percy very close to the Satsurugi 3. That could be the difference maker. Bola shot comes in from Nameless. Only does the damage here. Here comes the Satsurugi spree. Trying to go in for any sort of kills, but finds absolutely nothing. The only person close enough would be Nameless. They died in the hands of Lucky well after the fact, but the beam is there from Coolant. Rainy Moon is going ham on the shotguns, trying to finish out all of these kills as quickly as possible, trying to get any sort of completion progress here. Rainy Moon's Death Blossom gets absolutely nothing though, and Coolant's now out of the fight. Now Creamer trying to use the Flux, trying to find some people into the air. Is going to be able to lift up Yukino, but is not going to be able to finish out the kill yet. Moon, meanwhile, jumps off the map. There's only one support left here for the side of Hidden King, and Memory is just trying to stay alive. Eventually finished out here by Creamer. The bullet shot comes in here from Lucky, though. Just trying to bring it back. Able to get 2. C-Sharp's now the only one left on the point, and Coolant's trying to run back, but C-Sharp answers back with 2. Now it's a support duel. Coolant versus C-Sharp. Coolant and C-Sharp versus Moon. Now Percy back in the fight, and Percy's able to get the kill onto C-Sharp, chasing away Coolant at the last second. 7 seconds left on the clock, and Flying Blåhajar needs to touch.
4 seconds. Do they have what they need? Yes, the Doom pick is right here to try and keep them up. The ult might be on the table for C-Sharp, but Yukino, this Annihilation, I don't think they can do anything about it, Bowsy. 98% that you need to pop it now.
Well, Rainy was able to kill out Moon yet again. Moon now dead. It's going to be hard here as Yukino pops the Annihilation. Creamer on the Doofus needs to try and keep themselves alive. Meanwhile, Rainy Moon finds a second. Creamer, however, able to get the kill onto their tank. Adversary is now Flying Blåhajar trying to finish it out. Just barely able to touch the card as Nameless gets rid of Lucky. Now gets rid of Memory as well. All that's left is Yukino. Just trying to stay alive right now as Moon's back in the fight on the Lucio. Just trying to finish it out. Coolant's torpedoes, however, will do the damage necessary to get Flying Blåhajar over the line.
I feel like I'm watching Grand Finals right now, honestly. They're playing with their hearts out. It's so good. If you... I need a second. I actually need a second. That was such a good fight. Both teams, like, I can't... It must hurt so much if you're hitting King that your annihilation ran out. Like, it's what you it is the fight. It is the ult that wins the fight. It lasts forever. They always have to be on payload, and you still ran out of annihilation. That was the one thing that you needed if you're hitting King, and it ran out. That feels so bad. Creamer on the Doom. A little bit of impact, but honestly, that entire fight, in my opinion, goes to Rainy Mood. Finding 2 miracle picks. Bowsy, I think we're seeing it. I think we're seeing the end of the spree. Flying Blåhajar doing so... And that 5-man. You gotta... I hope everyone in the VC is like thanking Creamer. Because without that 5-man, you're not breaking the hold, Bowsy. What a I haven't seen a flux like that in a while. If you've been in BPL, you know why they call it Creamer's Road. This guy's showing you right now. And the Reinhardt's coming out, the Bastion, and the Symmetra. We just want to kill Creamer. Wow. 0 seconds, but still, I feel like momentum is so on the side of Flying Blåhajar going in, Bowsy. It may not be a real thing. It may not be as tangible as your abilities, as your ultimate, but momentum, Bowsy, always plays a factor. Moon still on the Lucio, and now we're going really aggressive. Really, really aggressive with this call.
Yeah, just going to be going straight in here, are the Hitting King, just trying to finish out the kills as fast as possible. And Creamer, they said, all right, Creamer, you had your fun. Now it's time to get off. But C-Sharp answers back again. That is the second time C-Sharp has found 2 kills in the past 5 minutes. But now Hitting King, they're back in the fight. Now they're on the objective. Yukino just trying to hold it down here on this Reinhardt with all the pressure coming in. Rainy Moon might be able to stall it out, but they're just going to wait. Creamer currently running back from spawn, trying to get into the point as fast as possible. Rainy Moon sees Lucky behind them, just trying to force out that fray to put him in a bad position, but Nameless is now out of the picture. Percy switching over to the Echo now, gets that first kill. Lucky now is uncontested now on this Freya. Rainy Moon's out of the fight. There's no DPS left for the side of Flying Blåhajar, and Lucky's just able to reign free from the skies. Creamer is all but cream at this point, as Lucky's just finishing him out and hitting King. They say, enough of your funny business. We're just gonna cap this point as quickly as possible and have 5 minutes on the point.
Really good awareness from Lucky, knowing that as long as they're behind them, no one can contest you on the fray, especially on that high ground. And particularly, Creamer dying first hurts you so much. The swap coming in, knowing that they're just gonna like ape at you, Bowsy. They're gonna run at you, and there's nothing Sigma can do about it, right? The Rock is gonna get blocked. Rainy Mood, good job with this first pick, and I like that we're on Ramacha. Better matchup, of course, 1-to-1, but especially a lot better at absorbing such fast pressure. Percy swapping onto the Mei, and I love it, especially into the Ramacha. So, the Shatter is coming in though, I'll see very soon.
Yukino Shatter could make the difference here, but Hitting King, we have to build that up first. Flying Blåhajar currently able to stall it out a little bit here, especially knowing that they got that first pick. Full shot comes in from Lucky, doesn't find anything though. Coolin's able to stay alive, but now that Nemesis form is popped here from Creamer a little bit too early, has to use the try and back up. Yukino sees his opportunity, Shatter comes down, and it lands just onto Creamer. Rainy Moon doesn't get caught by it, and that's bad news for Yukino, as they have to back up now. Consider Rush coming in from C-Sharp, trying to keep everyone alive here on the side of Flying Blåhajar and continue to make that advance. And here comes Rainy Moon into the back line, doesn't use the Blossom yet. They don't even need to, they just find the kill onto Moon for normally, and now Percy, in a world of hurt, able to get that headshot onto Rainy Moon, but is on the wrong side of the map. They might be able to try and get themselves out alive here, but it's going to be tight and not for long for this world of them.
Big shoutouts to Rainy Moon for not blowing their Death Blossom there, Bowsy. 2 people in sight. A lot of people would have gone for it, but you know that you need as many else as you can. Yukino running in, so aggressive. Lucky, what a pick, but this Annihilation, Bowsy, can you survive it?
Will Creamer use the Annihilation is the question. They're already burning down Yukino so much, and they forced out the Immortality field as well. From memory, he switches over to the Baptiste to try and keep Hitting King alive a little bit more. Yukino looking for that opportunity. Gonna be able to try and continue this pressure, but Creamer's on the corner trying to hold it out. You see Rainy Moon teleporting up to the high ground. They see blood in the water. Here comes the Annihilation from Creamer. The beam from Coolin as well as they continue pushing forward. But there's so much damage being pumped into this Ramastra. They're barely able to make their way through the wall from Percy here. Window as well used here from memory. Beat from Moon. Every ult flying left, right, and center right now. The only one that hasn't been used yet is that Blossom from Rainy Moon. Blizzard comes out here from Percy. Shatter lands onto Creamer yet again. They're facing so much pressure. Rainy Moon answers back with a Blossom, but only finds the kill onto Moon. And it's a 2v1 right now. Flying Blåhajar, only two people alive now with both of the supports, and Hitting King looking perfect in contention to get into the 3rd point here. Flying Blåhajar now They're in desperation. They're onto the Bastion now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want if you're into Yukino on Reinhardt, who has been doing so much, Bowsy. I think this has been the difference maker. This Reinhardt is putting so much pressure on your team. Honestly, I feel like it is in order. Like, Kitsune Rush is going to be ready. Creamer has just not been able to survive anything. Bowsy, Lucky's putting in so much damage, and Nameless can do the same, but that big barrier, you have to go through that first if you want to even make Yukino think about backing up. Lots of damage being taken, the barrier being blown, Nameless in a 1v1 that they cannot win, and this Susu almost saving them.
Here comes Lucky now with the bullet shot in the backline. Immediately lays on a rainy mood, and the Bastion already picked out early. That's not good for Flying Blåhajar. They need as much time as possible to try and burn down this time bank. Lucky able to get out with their life, and now Creamer's out of the picture as well. The Kitsune from C Sharp, not enough to keep them alive. It's all going to be on rainy mood to try and keep themselves alive. Coolant now out of the picture as well. Flying Blåhajar need to try and touch, but Nameless already out of the picture. They have the bullet shot online, aren't even going to be able to use it, and no one from the Blåhajar are able to touch. Hidden King, 3 minutes and 27 seconds on the time bank now to try and win this series.
Gave us a beautiful show on attack, but one thing that we kind of neglected to mention, Bowsy, is that it wasn't easy. It was not easy for Flying Blåhajar, especially when they went in with 5 minutes. They blew through first, they blew through second, but third was so much harder. And it doesn't matter that you're able to cap it as long as Hidden King was able to do it with more time on the bank. For those not aware, if time ticks down all the way and they're able to full hold, it's still gonna be a tie, and we might just see our first 4th map of the season, Bossy. You might be cursed to cast tiebreakers if Flying Blåhajar is able to lock it in and hold down this point as long as they can, but 3 minutes gives a lot of time for Flying Blåhajar to adapt, but gives a lot of time to just do some really wacky stuff, like what they did. They TP over the fence, and you're just not ready. You're on the Sigma, your character cannot take that much pressure at once without just blowing up. And I'm gonna say it, Flying Blåhajar did really good, but this is a tall order, holding for that long. Creamer, on the Reinhardt matchup, they believe that they can do a little bit better Nameless, bringing up the Mei for the first time on Flying Blåhajar, and it might just be what you need. You need a very tanky comp that is able to make some mistakes and still live through them. 9 seconds, will we see our 4th map? Will Flying Blåhajar have an extra chance to ruin Hidden King's perfect streak? Moon on the Lucio, and I think we're just gonna TP in. This is scary, Mousy. This is really scary.
Here comes the TP. It's just going to be the Bastion up there. No, in fact, they actually go for the bait. They show the TP, thinking that Flying Blåhajar are going to be able to bait. Flying Blåhajar think they're going to TP. Instead, they just rush down the main, and Yukino now has free reign right onto the objective. Someone from Flying Blåhajar has to touch this point, and they're all in the hotel! Checked into Hotel California! No one can touch the point! And in a repeat of what happened on Gibraltar, it's at a C9 in the opposite direction. Hidden King, undefeated in the regular season. They may not have gotten the golden season, but they sure as hell got the win at the end of the day and go 4-0 in the regular season, heading into the bracket stage.
Wow, but you cannot put down what Flying Blåhajar did today. Very strong performance. Not the best towards the end, running a little bit out of fuel, but Hidden King showing what they are undefeated, Vauci. Their attack was just textbook. Going first, putting the pressure onto you, always making you react rather than be able to fight on your own terms, which is what we were talking about in Gibraltar. It's something that they were always able to do perfectly, and I love what we saw today. Very exciting game. Flying Blåhajar, they didn't have what it took to break the streak, but I think going into playoffs, you need to be wary of this team because they were very good. Regardless, Hidden King, congratulations on their perfect season because Vauci, I think both as players and casters, we know how hard it is to have a season as good as Hidden King's.
What a performance from Hidden King all season. Again, 1 map drop in the entirety of the regular season. But Flying Blåhajar, definitely not the season they were hoping for, but still the good news is they have locked up a playoff seed, the playoff spot now, so they still have the chance of being able to make it work in the playoffs here. But what a performance from both of these teams throughout all in all. That Kings Row map will definitely go down in history as one of the most insane maps in BPL history. But still, an amazing series between both of these teams, showing that they both deserve a spot in the playoffs here. And it's going to be interesting as we take a look here at our bracket. The good news for Flying Blåhajar is with that 1 map win on Antarctic Peninsula, they have locked in themselves as the number 4 seed. The bad news is they have to play in the play-in side, so it's going to be a little bit difficult here for them as they have to go up against the number 5 seed from the Barbarian group, as well as face off against Mango Nectar in the first round of the playoffs if they make it through. So It's not looking the best chances here for Flying Blåhajar, but there definitely is a chance here for them. As we take a look here at the standings, yes, right now they are 5th, but there is still one more match happening in the group. That is going to be Slime City Monarchs versus those who crow, and the loser of that obviously will fall below Flying Blåhajar in the standings.
But after what we saw today, Valsi, if that's the 5th seed, this is one of the most stacked B-Leagues I've seen. That was great. That was a beautiful showing. I think they were playing really well. And pay attention to the map differential. They have more maps than everyone other than Hidden King under their belt, right? So honestly, I'm not scared if you're Flying Blåhajar. Yes, you're going to fight some people that are strong. Mango Nectar, the number 1 seed of their respective group. But after what you did today, I think you're a very strong team looking to show the world what you can do, even as either bottom 4 or bottom 5. Valsi, what we saw today was very exciting. I think it's going to be gonna go down in history as one of my favorite maps in BPL, but that is almost the end of our season. A big reminder, tomorrow, Sunday, we're gonna have a couple of last games before going into playoffs, and Bausi, the bracket is looking stacked, the bracket is looking scary, and I wish the best of luck to every single team, because again, if that's your 5th seed, everyone is someone to watch out for. Once again, congratulations to Hidden King for securing their victory today, securing a perfect season, and honestly, it was a lot of fun, Bausi.
Yeah, definitely. What an amazing stream. Again, congratulations to the Hidden King. Good luck to Flying Blåhajar. But that's going to do it for us here on the B stream here today. For everyone here on the production, including my amazing producer, Nock, as well as our amazing observers, including Thor Umea, Person, and Orange earlier today, my name has been Bowsy. Until we meet again, we hope you all have an amazing night, and we hope to catch you tomorrow for more Bad Pachimari League Season 8 regular season action.